All right, welcome everybody to the Toad Hall Books and Records channel. I am joined today. I am honored to have Megan and Shane as an interview. I love having you guys on. This is awesome.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Nick.
We're super excited.
Yeah, I am too. I've recently started doing a lot of interviews, and you guys are like my second interview, which is so exciting for me. And we have a lot to talk about. You guys got a lot going on. You got a new album. You have some songs hitting the radio. EP. You're moving. You got a lot going on. So we have plenty to cover for everybody out there.
Life
First,
is
go ahead.
Yeah, life isn't boring.
Yeah. Uh, so first of all, where are you from? Influences, and let's talk about this new LP. Let's start with the bases here.
Sure. So Shane and I have been married for 8 years, and we've been together a little over 10.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up for my formative years were in Chicago, actually.
Oh, there you go,
Um,
right by us.
yeah, I hear your accent, and I'm like, oh, my people.
Right.
and then I kind of grew up in Minnesota and then moved out to California for a little bit and did that. Moved back to Minnesota, and then we moved down to Arizona to operate some music schools.
Well, and the kind of fun thing is we met at the School of Rock in 2008. Shane actually hired me at the Minnesota school. And then we fast forward, we started a ska band together and a alt
Oh,
country band together. And then, flash forward, we come down here to open these schools and got hitched.
schools. School. So for those of you who don't know, they had a School of Rock, which is obviously like teaching kids how to play music. Uh, the franchise down in the Arizona, is it Tempe or where were you at in kind of the Arizona greater Phoenix area?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gilbert, Scottsdale, and Ahwatukee were running.
yeah, we were
So
operating those schools.
Okay.
One of our former parents in Minnesota actually bought the franchise down here and said, we kind of said we'd love to run them. And so that's kind of what we've been doing.
For how long?
9 years down here, but almost 15 years with School of Rock total.
Wow. So you've
Yep.
helped a lot of kids get their chops.
yeah,
It's been pretty amazing. It's like a lot of breakthroughs. We've got multiple students on labels touring. His very first guitar student was Jake Lupin from Hippocampus when he
Oh,
was like 9.
hmm
And then kids who just needed confidence and have gone on to be like microbiologists, but music kind of helped them become confident people.
and I think when you're a kid, it's good to have that outlet. And I know in my life, it's I have a love, and you may leave it for college or for high school or whatever's going on in your life, and then you come back to it when life settles down, and it's becomes a spot, a place that they can find like enjoyment of again, or hark back to those when they were 9 and 10, learning how to drum or play guitar or whatever. It's important for people to have that, and I think that's underrated because if they didn't become a rock star by the time they're 19, they didn't make it. But it should be measured differently. It should be measured in how it affects them long term. And 15 years, there's some kids out there that are probably really happy they went through that. So hats off
That's
to you.
neat. Thank you. And we still have like really close connections to some of these kids. When we got married, some of our Minnesota students came down and we all recorded at Sun the night before. Like they're just these lifelong connections. And I think especially during COVID, these kids having music was like really important.
Yeah,
So
that's good music for all of us. I mean, I can't tell you how many people got into the vinyl community from COVID because they were locked in their house and they're like, well, we can't go to live shows. I have all this extra money that I usually just blow at live shows. Now what? I did not see that coming, and I don't think anybody in the industry did either. But it was a welcome surprise for us indie record stores. Um, let's get into the new record. Now, this
yeah,
came out what September 3rd?
yeah.
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
We basically what happened is during the shutdown, running the schools, we were so busy, and then the shutdown happened. We had to make everything go remote within like 3 days. We worked our butts off, but then all of a sudden, like we had time to slow down, and we started writing songs after song after song, and we are just really inspired. And we wrote some songs that we really felt uh, confident about, and we just really liked. They're different from what we were writing before. So we did what any normal person would do. We sold our house and got rid of all our belongings to fund the
To
record,
pay for it.
to get a producer, and to do PR and radio and all that fun stuff.
Well, and what we were writing before, we realized like our lyrics were dancing around like the heart of the matter, you know. And so we got some feedback from a couple of folks like these other songs you wrote are fine, but they're not digging deep enough. And so, you know, all we had was time, and you know, we'd wake up early and make coffee and talk about life and our feelings about certain things that happened in our lives. And then we were like, okay, we got to write some real stuff here.
We basically ripped the Band-Aid off and just like went to town and just lots of tears writing these songs.
It's not the happiest record, but it's honest.
I was going. I have on my notepad that this, not only is this record extremely deep written, it's very timely. Obviously, there's some talks, you know, on some of your songs. You're talking about things that are going on, you know, upheaval and pandemic, and you're talking about things that happened last year. But wow, you dug really deep on some of these songs. I had to ask. My first question was going to be like, are all these about you, or are some of these about fictional? Like, are some of these stories that you found on the road? These are all about you too. These are all came out of your life experiences.
Yeah.
We both had pretty colorful lives and a lot of tough times, especially being kids. And I think for us, like getting this out felt really good because it's like, okay, now that's like done. We can put that stuff to bed and focus on other things.
You know, we did what a lot of people did during the start of all this. We watched the news 24/7, and we were getting anxious and getting very distraught, and we had that moment of like, let's stop watching the news, and like to deal with that, we just put to rest a lot of the demons and pain in our past. And you know, this album is a lot about us, you know, and we're already writing songs about like, you know,
other things,
but you know, this had to happen for us to like move forward.
Yeah,
this is like a restart for you guys. Like, this is like you're moving to Nashville, you restarted, you cleared the past, and now it's like a new beginning. That's amazing.
Exactly. Totally got it, you know. And it's like we wrote these songs and we sent them to our friend Maria, who's in the industry and has been for a long time, and she's really, really bluntly honest. Like, she will not say it's good if it's not good.
And we sent her other stuff before, and she's like, that's cute. That's nice, you know.
And this time we sent it to her, and she called us like immediately, and she's like, you friends have an album, and so let's figure out what to do with this.
Yeah. Well, obviously I work with Maria as well. She is very bluntly honest. So yeah, and I have to tell you,
love that about her.
Yep, she won't BS beat around the bush. But this record is quite deep. I mean, it is. I'm glad you brought that right up because that saves me from saying that.
Actually, quite happy people.
we had to do an interview for our PR company, like
to do our bio,
and the guy that interviewed us, he was like just staring at us like, oh, all those things are real.
I'm sure he needed a drink afterwards.
Well, yeah, because I mean, anyway, they cover the gauntlet. I mean, you have stuff from, you know, obviously the Daughter of Country, obviously early, you know, part of your life, and you have stuff all the way up till last year. You have it all over the place. So that's why I had to ask. I was like, I'm not sure if all of these are about them, but it's good to know. New EP, new song. I see there's some other stuff on your website coming up that's not on this.
Everything right now is on that. We got some new songs written, but we're not, you know, right now we're focused on the move to Nashville.
Okay.
We're just kind of releasing the singles out that we made videos for every single song on the album.
Okay.
And
so
we
we're
just
slowly releasing those. Yep.
How many do you have out?
Videos? I think we've got 5 of the 9 out.
Yeah.
Whew. That takes some time.
It was we did it all ourselves for the most part, and it was like crazy. There's this really cool place here called Painted Tiger, and it's like an old sugar beet factory that this guy just like has, and it has just like props, and like there's a skate park in the back, and
cool.
mannequins, clowns, and like so we just rented that out and did most of them there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have not seen. I'm gonna have to check out the videos. I listened to the record a bunch, but I've missed the videos, so I'm glad. I'll put that in. I'll tag those in videos in the description for those of you watching on YouTube. I will be tagging the videos. I'll be tagging your website and your socials, all that stuff. It'll be in the bio if you guys are watching. Check that out. I want to talk about some of these songs. I
Sure.
love the Little Birds.
Yes.
Obviously, Daughter of Country. I don't want to focus on that because I think that's your most popular song. I would say on the album, getting radio play for obvious reasons. You even cite your influences in the song, so it's pretty obvious, and it does a great job at that. Little Birds, I actually gravitated closer to the middle of the album. So like that was the first one that really caught me and that I really fell in love with. The double vocals, the train track rhythm. I was listening to this and I was like, they're from Arizona, but this sounds like a Nashville record. And I was like, okay, I dig it. All right. I'm trying to like go through the process. Like I didn't know you were moving to Nashville when I listened to this. But I really enjoyed the double vocals. So hats off. You pulled that off brilliantly.
Thank you. We've been doing the new songs that we've been writing. We're pretty much singing double vocals on almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just feels right. And with Little Birds, that was like the sunshine peeking through the clouds of like kind of some of these dark songs, and we were laying in our backyard, and that's where that came out of.
Yeah, literally our backyard in Gilbert, Arizona had like a bunch of birds chirp in all the time, and we just lay back there and stare at the clouds and try to pick like dragons and
just try to like be kids for a little bit and like what do you see up there? And it was just a need to feel some hope and some joy in kind of like a messed up time.
It's definitely the feel good track of the album.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing about the train beat, there's a funny little tidbit there. So he had the idea for that kind of brushy feel, and then having kind of almost that like big timbali thing of like The Boxer by Simon and Garfunkel. We couldn't get the brush sound right on the snare. And Bob Hogue, who we worked with, the producer, he's like a Twin Peaks nut, like a fanatic.
Okay.
He's like, he had one of the stools he bought from the diner from Twin Peaks as like
really
fanboy thing, and he's like, was that your idea or his?
It was his idea to do it on the stool.
He's like, let's try the brushes on this like diner stool, and that's what it was recorded on.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And it makes the song. It puts it all together, obviously. I mean, it's a huge, important part. Gives it that Nashville sound. You went from, Daughter of Country, obviously, harking back to those old female artists. You go to a train track thing. Leaving It All Up to You, another one of my favorites because it's so timely. Like I said, the middle of the album I really gravitated towards, and I don't know, I can't tell you why, but I just did. Obviously, duet again. A little more of a harmony thing going on because Little Birds isn't really like a harmonization. You get a little more into the duets. It's very timely. I think a lot of artists have put out COVID tunes.
Yeah.
But there hasn't been one that everyone's like, that's the COVID song. Like there's a song of the summer every summer, right?
Right.
What's the COVID song? No one has a COVID song. No one has a thumb point. That's the COVID song. But I think you did it brilliantly. You wrapped up 2020 in a song with a love story, duet. I think you have a story behind this one. This is going to be good. I want to hear this. What do you have?
Leaving Out. Basically, that comes from just watching the news and feeling like we're left alone, and it's like that whole like feeling like no one could tell us any answers, no one could give us any direction, no one wanted to take responsibility for anything, anything, not just COVID, but like anything that was happening, and it just got to the point. It's like, well, I guess we got to figure it out. And when we were running the schools, part of our job was to figure out like all the protocol in our schools
to bring kids back in, and what did we do safety wise, and we got so much push and pull from parents and teachers
on both sides.
Yeah.
And so we were the ones that had to make the call and figure it out. And that song was just born out of like frustration and, well, screw it, I guess it's just up to us. And we had a conversation one morning where I was like, all my life I thought there was a safety blanket or a security net by like our leadership and our country, your state. You just have this, you're trained as a kid to think your government has your back. Mm-hmm. And I'm not anti-government, but it was just that moment of like, no one has back.
No, it did feel that way. It did feel like all right, this is where shit hits the fan. Luckily, we pulled out of it, but the civil unrest was wild, and then the COVID. It was like, what is going? Like, if a meteor hit and we were all in like the apocalypse, we would be like, that's it.
Yep.
And I get that feeling, like we always had that as Americans. We always had that blanket, and it was like for a year it was removed. And I get that. Oh Lord, see, look at this, right in line. Oh Lord, guitar work, that classic rock feel you brought into that song was really cool. I also have A Million Lives is probably, look at that, all right in a row. The last two songs on the album, Low and Taking This Long, a little slower. Good way to kind of wrap the album up. Any comments on either of those? What are your favorite song on the album?
God, I love singing Daughter of Country. I love that I get to rip at the end and I love to sing big, and that just pushed me pretty hard.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly. You pushed it. You pushed it as hard as you could on that first track.
And then Little Birds. I mean, that song still makes me happy.
I like Million Lives a lot. It's like that song's about cancel culture and like kind of our views on it, and like when everything was going on, we had family members, like
people lost their minds, and we had fights with family members that would never have happened before. And luckily we've worked those things out, but it was just like a powder keg. And everybody was, I think probably because COVID was making everyone feel like they didn't have any control over anything. Mm-hmm. This was all of a sudden focus our energy on this, and it just felt like no one was thinking through anything.
Yeah, so it's a kind of a big our statement about cancel culture.
Huh. Yeah. And that's everything has to be said. Everyone has to, it's a great way to channel your opinion through your music. I always say this with politics, with any topic. You ask 100 people, you're going to get 100 different answers. Everyone's got their own shade. And as long as we all listen to each other and we all have a conversation about it, that's what this is about. And even if you can't change someone's mind, if you just share where you're from, and if they don't like it, they don't like it. But hey, if we all listen to each other and we all try to put each other in each other's shoes, maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle. And I think putting it in a song, great way to do it. Great way to do it.
Thank you. We think the same thing, but at that time it was like no one was listening to each other.
No, it's still a problem. I mean, it's I'm up here in Illinois, and it's especially my town, Rockford. It's 50-50 red and blue, and it's I have people on both sides in my store, and I luckily get to see both sides. I see people who walk the streets to people who pull in my driveway and have $100,000 Ferraris buying records. So I see every part of society, and I can understand where all of it fits in, and understand why some people are angry and some people are sad. And so, I get it, and it's hard. It's a hard thing to talk about, but as long as you're having the conversation, that's the important part. Keep talking, keep the conversation. So
exactly.
Yep. You get to Nashville. You're moving from. You're moving. You're going to get there. Is there a tour? You're focusing on moving, but you're going to, you just start booking?
Yep. I'm already starting. We have our first show in Nashville booked December 18th at Dee's.
Which is the coolest country bar on the planet, and we're so excited.
We spent a lot of time there when we were there in April and September for Americana Fest. But then we got our first show booked in Atlanta on January 7th, but we're going to book a short tour around that. But then we're looking at coming to the Midwest in March, April. Being from Minnesota and Chicago, it just seems right to kind of hit that. Her dad lives in St. Louis, and
would love to come play your store. Just put it out there.
Absolutely. I'm absolutely going to have you, and we'll put it up. We'll film it. We'll throw it on the YouTube channel for everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of the plan, is just to hit the ground running.
Play a lot.
We figured out where we're living in Nashville, and that was the big stressor. So we have an address now, so now we can focus on the other stuff.
Yeah,
it's
that's important.
We got a place. Yep. We got a yard. Cool.
And it's a nice little house that we can be loud in.
Yep, we're going to be right close to East Nashville, and our dog's going to be happy, and we can grill and have people over and jam, and it's going to be great.
And the vibe in Nashville is just, and I talk to more and more people I interview, they're moving from Atlanta to, Nashville and other, they'll be in a bar and it's some bar band's playing, and next to them there's Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick, and then there's someone from ZZ Top, and then it's like it's for people who haven't been in Nashville, the culture that supports the music is unlike anywhere else in the country. And for your style of music, whether it's a little more country or a little bit more rock, that's the place to be. It's the place to be.
We can't believe how welcomed we feel everywhere we go, and especially in East Nashville, like they look like it's our tribe. Like you go everywhere and people look like us and they talk to us, and the people we talk to like are excited that we're moving there.
We get emails from people we don't even know, just like welcoming us. They heard we're moving and they're just like, it's like, hey, look us up when you get there. It's really cool.
Yeah, the Southern hospitality is a real thing. I'm always shocked when I venture south, which I do quite a bit, because it's only 8 hours for me, so I can get down there pretty quick. But yeah, I'm always surprised that Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Alabama, even Florida, they're not that Southern hospitality is a real thing. So that's really cool.
Our wedding license, our marriage license is in Tennessee.
We got married in Memphis. And
at the Stax Museum of Soul.
We're like, this is fitting. So
perfect. All comes around. Let's talk about importance of physical. Obviously, I'm a record store, and I'm a big proponent of physical media.
Go grab her. Sorry, our dog.
That's okay.
Okay, Loretta.
What's your dog's name?
Oh. Loretta. Oh, how fitting. I know. Yeah, I mean, the physical stuff I think is really important. And we both grew up old school, buying records and tapes and CDs, but I think having a tangible copy of something, like if you buy it at a show, it's a memory of the show.
Always.
And I think also, yes, we have some of our favorites right here.
Oh, cool.
And then, like, it makes the person more real, I think, because you're looking at it, you're reading the liner notes, it's a thing that's tactile, you can touch it, and then it's not just like a profile picture on Spotify, which streaming is super important as an artist, but it's a physical thing.
And it's like a lot of artists, like the way they put their songs on an album, like in order, the order of the songs is telling a story. It's the vibe, and like us included, we spent a lot of time thinking of what order the song should go. And it's like artists want people to listen to the full album. It's like and having a record, having a CD or something really makes it so
you kind of have to listen to it in that order.
Yeah, it's a little more difficult to just like change every song.
I don't like this song.
Boop. Yep.
I just want the single on my playlist, not the rest of the crap. Just put the one.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the other part is like the artwork. It's like we both grew up. I grew up going to independent record stores in the Chicagoland area, and I would flip through, and the artwork, I might not know who the band was, but the album art, I'd be like, I want to buy this just to see what it is.
And you guys followed the two key rules. It's put your artist name here and your title of your record here, because when you're flipping through a bin, you may only see like that much. I hate when bands put their stuff like at the bottom. Like, no one's ever going to see your band name down here. It's at the bottom of the rack. Or the spine. Look at your spine is clearly visible.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sid, our artist, she is amazing. She's a local artist from Arizona, and she knocked
it out of the park. Yep.
The art is really, like you said, she knocked it out of the park. Followed all the rules. The album looks great. It's got great color contrast. It's going to grab your attention. And it's going to tell you, Daughter Country, when you pick that up, you're getting an Americana record. You're getting, you know what you're kind of getting there. So fantastic job on that. So you were digging in record stores in Chicago, and you're up in Minnesota. Do you remember your first record? Do you remember what your first record was?
Mm-hmm. So mine was Cyndi Lauper's "She's So Unusual." My mom bought that for me.
Yes.
Mine was "If I Ruled the World" by Curtis Blow.
Whoa.
He was a big ol' into hip hop.
Yeah. My second one was Run DMC "Raising Hell," but I remember on the B-side, it was just the single. They had the instrumental version of "If I Ruled the World," and I would like practice rapping over it.
How
back in the day.
Were you like 7?
10. Yeah, 9 or 10. Yeah.
That's awesome. And see those memories, you know, like somebody's going to end up at your show and buy this, and they may not be 8 or 10, but it's going to be in their collection, and they're going to remember that night that they went to Nashville Club, saw you guys play, picked it up, had you guys sign it after the show, and, you know, 2 years down the road, they're going to pull it out. Oh, I wonder what happened to that band. Let's look them up. Oh, look, they're playing again. You know, it's such an important part of the whole being a real human and being a band. It's unbelievable. Versus,
Favorite part.
go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just gonna say it's our favorite part too. There's artists this year that we've gotten really into, like the Brandy Carlisle. Her new album is
Yes.
like it's a masterpiece, and like you listen to it, and we got her vinyl right away, and it's like you feel like she's your friend, and I think that's the beauty of like putting a piece of vinyl on your player.
Yeah. Yeah. And even CDs are on the uptick. I know everyone's talking about the death of CDs. You know, don't ignore CDs, cassette tapes. They're making cassette tapes.
Yep.
All physical is up. I talked to a lot of people in the industry. I think eBay last year said all physical was up double digits. Vinyl and CD were up over 100%.
That's good news for us and for you.
Yes. So, you know, don't think that anything is dead. I'm sure you make more money off selling a record than you do a bunch of streams on Spotify, I would just guess. So it's just a little more.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
It's sarcastic.
So, you know, great way to support a band. Go out and see these guys. They're hitting the trail pretty soon. A lot of dates will be added probably in December. We're going to see a bunch of dates. Okay.
Yeah, we've got one more final Phoenix show. We've got Northern Arizona and the Mint in LA next week, and then we head out, and we're December, January going to hit it hard.
Cool. Yeah. Well, absolutely. I'm absolutely going to have you guys in store when you guys come through. I'm renovating the store to have a sound area, so hopefully in just January it'll be ready. Either way, I'm going to have you come in. We're going to do something. And I look forward to seeing what you guys do out there. I can't wait to see how this goes, what happens in Nashville. I feel like this thing could really take off, especially because you're getting radio play, right?
We almost died when we charted in the top 200s for a few weeks of the Americana chart, and we were like, what? What? So it's cool.
And, you know, in talking to a lot of people in the industry, they always say, like, what's a formula? What's a formula? And everyone who's made it has said tour everywhere.
Yeah.
And keep making music. It's like, that's the formula. Just tour. And there's no rhyme or reason. Get out of your area, and tour. And sometimes it'll hit. And I think you guys got a great piece of music. And you're going to the right place.
Thank you. And we think that sounds like an amazing life. And that's kind of why we're throwing caution to the wind, jumping off the cliff, and we're just going to see what happens because life's too short not to go for it.
I don't think it could be as bad as you think it's going to be.
I don't think it's going to be bad. It's going to be awesome.
I'm just like, people are like always like, oh, well, I don't know. What if this? It's like, it's never as bad as you think it could possibly be. I think you're right. I think it's going to be awesome. So, anything I left out? Anything that I miss?
I think just thank you for having us. And we're so excited to hit the road and see your shop and meet you in person and buy some records at your store.
Oh, man, that is so awesome. Guys, thanks so much for coming on the show. Megan and Shane, it's meganandshanemusic.com. They have all the social media channels. I'll put that all in the description. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Best of luck on the move and everything. And the album is doing well already, and we'll see you guys soon. We'll see you on down the line.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.